Classic Restos Trucks Edition Series 2, proudly brought to you by Gleeman Truck Parts, Premier One Products, and Shannons Insurance, where you can become a member of the Shannons Club. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Classic Restos Trucks Edition. And there's a handful of major sponsors that are waiting to help you as well when it comes time for parts for your classic truck, insurance for your classic truck, cleaning products for your classic truck. And what about when you're hungry and it's time to crack the good egg? Go to classicrestos.com.au. Major sponsors' logos are there on the homepage. If you click on those, you'll be directed to their websites for more information as to how they can help you. And on today's show, I have returned yet again to Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia, to Paul Harrison Transport. These blokes are mad, but when a truck needs restoration, it needs to be done right. These guys start with the chassis rails and move upwards and downwards from there. Pom's the man here in the fabrication and paint department, and with a name like Pom, well, he's from the UK. We won't hold that against him, but his talents are endless as he works for Paul Harrison. This old Thames truck here is Pom's. He is restoring this 1978 Mack MDR, and Paul Harrow's 1964 B61 Mack is also a showpiece restored into the finest detail. But first on today's show, it's time for a 1978 Chevy C60 truck. Good morning, Jake. How are you, buddy?
Good, thanks, Fletch.
Thanks for coming along.
No trouble at all, mate. I've got nothing else better to do.
I was just about to say that. You had nothing else on?
Yeah.
Guys with their classic trucks, they stop what they're doing in the middle of the week to come and see Fletch.
Well, I wouldn't put it right to that point, but getting close.
We're halfway. Now, Jake, 1978 C60 truck, how was it when you found it?
I could show you a photo, but you wouldn't believe it, mate. I pulled it out of a mountain up near Bulladila, and we had a tugger around about 3 or 4 kilometres with an old R600 Mack. Yep. All the brakes were locked up, tyres were flat. She was in real bad condition, you know. She was a sad old girl.
They're the forgotten truck, the old C60, aren't they? Big cab, 2 big headlights up front, like a big face looking at you.
Yeah, mate, yeah, I like the style of them. You know, they're a typical Yank tank, aren't they? You know, big and beefy. Yeah. Go like the clappers, you know. They really get up and go. Now,
mate, this particular truck here, you found it in a mountain. What an extraordinary story. I mean, the history with these old trucks basically worked to death. And as I've said before, guys like yourself come along and rescue these things. I mean, you save their lives.
Mate, there were about 4 black snakes living in it when I found it. I went up to find a bumper bar for one of my other Chevys.
It's not, hang on, mate, they're not in here now, are they?
No, mate, no. Actually, I killed one yesterday. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I kicked one in the guts yesterday. Get out of me road. I don't think I hurt him.
Well, a snake's got 2 ends, you know.
Yeah,
there's just one end you've got to stay away from.
That's it. Yeah, well, I was trying to get it to the other end to pick him up. I went up to get a bumper bar for one of my other Chevs. I got about 4 or 5 of them there, and I found this one laying in the long grass, and I mean long grass. She hadn't been cut for 20 years, and everything was just locked up and jammed up, you know. And I said to the bloke, do you want to sell the bumper bar? No, he said, I'll sell you the bloody truck. I ripped the whole truck home. Yeah, so that was the start of it.
Jake, I love the look of the small GM truck. You got the step tank there on the side. I mean, it's got the big truck look, hasn't it?
Yeah, the Yanks had that. Well, you go to the Kenworths and the Louisvilles and the Diamond T's. They're all good beefy trucks, you know.
Where did trucks go back with you? Were you a little kid and you're into trucks? Where did it start with you?
Well, yeah, it started when I was about 16, I think. I went in to get my car licence, and prior to that, about a week before that, I bought a 37 Chev 4-tonne truck, and I thought, I'll go in and...
What year are we talking?
We're talking 1954, 55. So, of course, you went into the cop shop then. I went into the cop shop and he said, what do you want? I said, I just want a licence, you know. I didn't care. He said, so we drove around the block. He said, righto, he said, I just pull up here. He said, I get me dry cleaning. He went and got his dry cleaning, and then he went 2 doors up and got his lunch, and then we got back in the truck and come back, and he come up to the cop shop and he wrote me a receipt for a C-Class licence when I was 16. So I've had it ever since.
One good thing about doing Classic Restos Trucks Edition, you know, is catching up with blokes like Jake. The stories are endless. The trucks are amazing. And, mate, I just want to thank you for having time out and coming here today.
My pleasure, mate.
All right.
Good.
Good on you, Jake. You take care of yourself.
Oh, all the time. All the time, yeah.
Remember, Jake, you're only as good as the person you feel.
Exactly right, and it's good feeling in a minute.
Thanks, mate.
Good, mate.
Moving on from Jake, we've got Bob now. How are you, Bob?
Not bad, thanks, Fletch.
That's the way, mate. Thanks for turning up here today. And 1975 Atkinson, what a big girl.
Yeah, the big banger.
Tell us the story here. What's the rundown, Bob?
Well, I was doing the drive to Hume a couple of 3 years ago now, and I thought, I'll just turn off at Turner Road in Narellan, where we used to have a farm years ago, and just see if the old farm's still there and I think the house is there. And I just drove down the road a bit to turn around to come back, and I seen this old Atkinson parked alongside a shed in the paddock with the grass up around the tanks and the bull bar and a small tree growing through the bull bar, as you do when you find them on farms. So it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, so I banged on the door of the place, and this bloke came out in his pyjamas. He said...
That's always good, Bob, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he didn't seem too pleased to see me either that time in the morning. And he said...
Probably interrupted him cooking his crumpets.
Yeah, maybe. So he said, what do you want? And I said, what are you going to do with that old Atkinson down the paddock? And he said, well, I've been, he said, thinking of selling it. I said, how long's it been parked there? He said, about 10 years on and off. And then we went down, and I sort of went around the truck, and I said, does the thing go? He said, yeah, she goes. And I said, well, can you start it up for me? He said, at the moment I can't. He said, I've got the one battery in my car.
He's got no shoes on.
He said, I've got the other battery in the tractor. He said, can you come back the weekend and I'll have the thing going? So I rang him up on the Friday night, and I said, is that truck going? He said, yeah, she's going. I said, how many times did it turn over to get the Cummins going, the 903? I thought she'd take a fair bit of the pumping the fuel up after standing for a while. And he said, about 10 times, but he said, she's going, she's right.
What a lovely story, Bob. I mean, you know, guys like you, I said to Jake earlier about saving these trucks' life. I mean, it's so nice to drive along and see some machinery in a paddock, knock on the door, acquire it, and then all these years down the track, here it is. And apparently you haven't done much to it in the time that you've had it, is that correct?
No, well, since I've had it, it's been the steam cleaned and it's been the polished half a dozen times, and I'm still doing the tanks now every now and again to sort of keep them up. Yeah. The only thing I've actually painted is the bull bar. Yep. And I put all new the mud flaps on it. Yep. Brand new exhaust system.
Let's talk about the 903, big V8 Cummins diesel, 903 cubic inches. This one's a turbo, 350 horsepower, but a stack of torque.
Oh, yeah, good motor and a good strong truck to put them in too.
Bob, thank you so much for turning up. I just think so much of that. I keep saying this as well. This is midweek with Classic Restos Trucks, because weekends are taken up with Classic Restos, the car show. So to get these trucks through the middle of the week, it means for guys to have time away from whatever they're doing. It means a lot. And it's helping to support the fraternity as well, Bob. So thanks on the behalf, mate.
Good. Thanks for that, Fletch. Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
And if you want to hear 903 cubic inches of V8 turbo diesel grunt, things don't get much better than this. hope you're really enjoying this week's episode of Classic Restos Trucks Edition as we make our way through Series 2, of course thanks to my major sponsors. When you need parts for your classic truck, insurance for your classic truck, cleaning products for your classic truck, and when you're feeling a little peckish and it's time for the good egg, go to classicrestos.com.au. Major sponsors' logos are there to be directed to their websites for more information as to how they can help you. Stay in your favourite chair, back with more right after this. Welcome back. What an episode. We've got Pom here. How are you, Pom?
Oh, I'm battling.
They call him Pom because he's a bloody Pom, aren't you, mate?
That's it.
Yeah. He's a legend, this bloke. Very, very clever guy. Give us a quick rundown, Pom. It starts from here. What is this? What do you got going on?
It's a Foden S20 and it's 1959. So it's a bit old.
Absolutely. What are your plans for this truck?
Well, this belongs to a member in our club and we're helping him through the stages of rebuilding it back to showroom condition.
Now, okay, to me it looks like a bit of a nightmare. I never underestimate what you guys can do here. You're a very clever guy. The big plans for it, is it a good restoration? Can you forecast how the build's going to be?
Yeah, it's a fairly simple restoration. You look at it probably to the layman and think, oh my God, what are they taking on? But the chassis and everything is fine. That's all we look at. The cab and the frame to the cab isn't really of any importance. It'll just be used as a pattern mostly. Yeah. None of the sheeting will be kept. That'll just go to scrap. I
mentioned earlier in the show, I alluded to the fact that you guys start from the chassis rails up and down as well. I mean, you guys, in some cases, start from almost nothing and just build an entire truck.
Yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. It's the easiest way. Take the whole thing to pieces, see what's good, throw away the rest.
Yeah. Okay, now speaking of which, the Thames truck outside, let's go and have a look at that, eh, Pom?
Okay, we're going to have a look at that.
Well, here we go, Pom, a Thames truck. Tell us the story here. I mean, to me, whenever I see Thames, it just reminds me of the beginning of the Benny Hill show.
Yeah, well, it's a truck that actually came to me by accident. I was looking for a British truck. Most people had me down for having a Bedford, but I didn't care. I wanted something built between 1955 and 1975. This Thames Trader came up at the right price, which was free, and I took her on.
These trucks have got great history. I mean, when it's all said and done, the British trucks were here pretty well first. I mean, they helped to build the nation in many ways before the influx of American trucks came to Australia.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, these old traders, especially this model, the 4-tonner, they were overloaded to the max, and I think they were known as roll your own because the loads normally ended up with the truck on the side.
Yeah. The thing is too with these types of trucks too that they were so versatile. I mean, they may have had a tipper body on them, they may have had a tray top on them, they took the potatoes to market of a morning, they might have done a long distance run. I mean, they were really all over the place, weren't they?
Oh, they were. I mean, these were also used as fire engines. They're quite common. New South Wales Fire Brigade had these things. It's a Ford version of the TK Bedford. Yeah, I mean, it was versatile. It was up against that as well, and the S-Type. So. Yes. It was used for everything.
So, Thames, is that the actual manufacturer? Was it a company called Thames, or was it themed from the UK? Who actually built them?
No, Thames are built by Ford. Thames is just the name for their commercial division. Right. So, yeah.
This is good. See, Pom's educating Fletch as we go here. There's so much to learn, and even when you think you may know some, there's always some more.
Well, I don't know if I'm teaching you much, but anyway, we'll keep going with it.
Well, you're good with the Pommy stuff, Pom, anyway.
Well, a little bit. And what I don't know, hopefully no one else has put you right on it anyway.
You're a dead set legend, you are. There's no doubt about it. Now, this particular truck here, what sort of order was it in? I mean, yeah, it looks beautiful now. It really does look nice.
It wasn't too bad. It had rust in around this section here. The guards, where this is all black, that was badly damaged because it was an orchard truck, and I think they hit every tree in the orchard with it. Also, the roof was badly dented where people have been climbing on top of the roof. Yeah. So
sounds like the driver branched out into other areas.
Yeah. So it was fairly, robust sort of thing. So it wasn't too bad.
No. Well, a truck from an orchard. It was a pretty good pick, wasn't it?
Oh dear, they're getting worse.
Okay, so the build time on this, Pom, how long did it take you?
I've been working on this one now. This is a year I've been working on this. I do it a half hour before work and a half hour after work.
When you have a look at this particular truck overall, the attention to detail that Pom has done is really 100%. I mean, a 1962 truck, it's a step back in time, isn't it?
It is, and these came out in '57. The Mark II, which is this model, is the 1962 model, and then they were replaced in 65, I think it is, or 66, by the D series.
In the spray booth now, Pom, what's happening with this Mac, this MBR?
Well, this came in just a few weeks ago. It's very badly rusted, and it was no way it was going to make its next rego. So we decided, OK, let's resheet her.
What year model is it?
1978.
78, still a working truck?
Still a working truck, and it needs to work. So it had to come in and push in front of the other ones to get done.
Absolutely, they're just no good. They're not the sort of thing you want laying around.
No, you can't afford to have them laying around. They've got to get back out there and earn their living.
OK, the procedure that you're doing here, I mean, a total facelift of the cab.
Total resheet, which includes front and back and the doors. The roof we are in fact keeping because that was a new roof when it was done up some 20 years ago.
All right, from go to woe, Pom, you're building a new cab here. Tell us the story.
The story is we've seen the Foden already. That's the beginning of the story. The MBR, the next stage. This is your final stage of your building a cab. It's already been sheeted out and it's painted, ready to go back onto a vehicle.
OK, so the truck we started with out in the yard, it's going to look just every bit as good as this.
Exactly the same. Yeah, you just start, all you're using those things for is a pattern. Yeah. Now the only part of this truck that's original is the sun visor and these small corner panels. The rest of it has all been remanufactured.
Looks $1 million, doesn't it?
It looks okay.
It's no big deal to these guys. I think it looks wonderful. We talk about classic restorations. This is it at its very best. So to see that poor old truck out in the yard and then have the future vision of down the track looking like this, that's unreal.
Oh, it is, and it's what it's all about. I mean, you're saving pieces of history. Now, admittedly, the vehicle that you're seeing that gets restored isn't the original vehicle that was running around in the 50s or whatever, but we have at least got the chassis, motor, running gear, that's all original. It's purely the superstructures that don't seem to last, and then you have to obviously restore those.
Geez, Pom, what do you got going on here?
Well, this is what that cab's going on to, which is an AEC. We're waiting, well, we've got the cab mounts are all worked out exactly where they should be, and everything's right. Yeah. The front firewall's partly done, and then we've got the front, which we'll show you in a minute.
So what year model are we talking?
This is 6061.
Right.
Yeah, so they're reasonably old.
Now the build time here must be pretty huge. This is a big job. This is not something that just takes a few weeks, right?
No, it takes a long time. We don't actually start looking too much into build time, so it'll be too scary.
Absolutely, and I'd say build time would be pretty parallel with budget. Just two areas you don't want to go.
You never count up your receipts. It's a mistake, and don't count up your time.
Pom, what's lurking up front there engine-wise? Just give us a quick rundown there.
Well, we've got an AEC 11.3, and it goes on to, I think it's a 6-speed box on these, and then you've got a Joey box as well, which is pretty standard on AECs.
What sort of horsepower back in the day?
Oh, God, I wouldn't know what horsepower it is. Yeah, say about 150 at best.
Wow.
Yeah.
He says that so proudly. He's proud about the product, aren't you?
I am. They're good old pommy vehicles.
There's no doubt about you. We're going to have to come back one day. I don't know if it's going to, well, definitely won't be in this series, but just to think that one day this truck is just going to look so nice out on the road.
It will. In fact, later on you're filming a B model Mac that the last time you were here was just a set of chassis rails laying on the floor.
Absolutely. And we're going to get an opportunity to have the man himself back on the show, Paul Harrison.
Yeah, well, never mind. I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah, they call him Harrow.
They do indeed.
It's a harrowing experience.
It is. I hope your audience get over it.
Now stick around, because after the break, as you've just heard, we're going to catch up with the man himself, Paul Harrison. Thanks again, Pom.
No worries, Fletch.
Welcome back. Well, here we go. The man himself, Paul Harrison, or known to those as Harrow. How are you, Harrow?
Bloody good.
That's good, mate. You're looking bloody good.
Yeah, I am looking good.
Why wouldn't you be good? Two B61 Max. One's been on the road for quite a while. We've got a Resto behind us there that's just on the road. Mate, are you happy with it? It looks beautiful.
The boys have done an excellent job. You couldn't get it that much closer to being original than what it is.
These B61s, they go back a long way with you. Tell us a story, Paul.
They do. The one behind Fletch there, I've had it for about 25, 30 years, and she's been rebuilt once or twice. I've got another one up in another shed up there, which has got the gearbox out of it. But this new one we've done, we've pulled it right to bits to every nut and bolt, including re-riveting the chassis back together with hot rivets.
Even the electrical cabling, it's got the cotton lining on the outside. Just looks like a bit of old jug cord, Harrow.
Oh, you think it was? We found a mob in Melbourne to make the harness up. So we made a dummy harness up out of Parramatta rope, sent it through the mob in Melbourne. They've done an excellent job of it.
Now, the restored truck behind you there, Paul, what a work of art. I mean, I was here a while ago and just saw the chassis rails. I'm back all these months later, and here's the finished product. So you alluded to earlier, a concourse truck. How does it make you feel to see that truck restored?
It's really, it makes you feel pretty bloody good, and especially the boys, Pom and Doug, who done it. It's a really credit to them. There was a lot of hours put into it. I mean, I lost count after 100,000. I wouldn't bloody have a clue what it bloody cost me. But I tell you what, it's worth it.
Yeah. Good on you. How many years you been driving?
Oh, only about 40. Or something like that. I don't know. I've lost count.
You're just a newcomer to the industry.
Only just a young fella.
Paul, I've got to ask you, these two beautiful Macs behind us, where will they go one day?
Well, I got 3 of them actually altogether. I'm sending them out to, in my will when I go, they're going out to Alice. And I think that's a very deserving place for them, out of Alice Springs, because I don't know if anyone's been out there or not, but it's absolutely unreal.
Out there with Liz.
With them.
Yeah, out there with Liz in the Hall of Fame Museum. At least you know, Paul, they'll remain that way. They'll get looked after. And 50 years from now, 100 years from now, these trucks will look exactly the same.
It's unreal what they do out there. Liz and her gang out there is unbelievable. And I think that's the best place they can go. You know, my name will go on forever out there, hopefully.
Well, don't worry, you know what? I don't think the trucks are going out there for a while yet, mate.
I bloody hope not.
There's still too much stuff you've got to do around here.
Oh, we've got too many projects on here.
Not only that, you've got to clean the joint up a bit.
I bloody have to.
In fact, Harrow's B61 Mac is so good that Vintage Trucks and Commercials magazine has also done a complete feature where you can see the total restoration. It's just another form of recognition for such an outstanding truck. Now, rounding off today's episode, how are you, Andrew?
Pretty good, thanks, Fletch.
That's good. Now, thinking of getting into trucking, into vintage trucking, well, you can. You don't need a stack of money. Andrew, this Albion, I mean, okay, where do we start? What's the first question? Before we go any further, though, how much did you pay for it?
$1,000.
All right, $1,000. Gets him into the big girl. Now, tell us where it's from. This is an incredible old truck.
We bought this truck just recently on eBay. It come from South Australia, and yeah.
Being an Albion, I mean, what year is it?
Built around about 1956.
Jeez, it's an amazing truck. And what is interesting too, when you look close on the passenger door, you can see the Caltex insignia bleeding through the paint.
Yeah, you can, and all the red coming through. It looks like they were the original owners and workers prior to the people we bought it off.
How many gears?
6-speed overdrive. Yeah. And the diff ratio is 6 3/4 to 1.
Andrew, what I also like about it is that you're a young bloke and you bought such an old truck and you're representing the next younger generation coming through. And I just think that that's a very nice transitional period that we're all about to experience, because there's a lot of the old guys that are getting on, and it's guys like you that will hopefully keep it all going. All right, Andrew, well, thanks so much for your time. I believe you've come from Dungog, which is quite a way from here, west or northwest, so thanks for bringing the truck all that way.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this week's episode of Classic Restos Trucks Edition Series 2. Today's episode, a big thanks to you, Paul. Thank you.
Not a problem, mate. It's a pleasure having you here, Fletch.
It's my third time back here.
And you're bloody welcome back any time.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, what do we say?
How much do I get paid to saying that?
I was just about to ask you the same question. Soul of the Earth guy, trucking fraternity at its very best, and represents a lot of classic trucks and truckers here. And what more can we say, eh?
Hey, all I can say is keep on trucking.
Again, thanks, Paul.
Hey, thanks for Fletch, and welcome any time. And Classic Restos does a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Appreciate
Good
it,
on
mate.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
ClassicRestos.com.au is the website that you need for the DVD series sets of the show, along with other Classic Restos merchandise. You might want information on travelling on a Fletch tour and as to how my major sponsors can help you as well. As I say at the end of every show, until next week, please, no matter where you're watching from, ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.